Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2. Today I want to make a quick update video for you guys. This is update number 1469 for the Quillvolley Spiritborn build. Okay, let's get into it. All the build planners are updated. Feel free to check it out down in the description if you want to see the build. I made the video on this build yesterday, but I just want to go over what changed in today's patch. There are a few things that I want to talk about, so let's get into it. Everything will be timestamped. All right, let's go. First thing that is changed is that on Kepeleke, chance for core skills to hit twice previously did not work for Quillvolley. I don't know if it worked for the other skills, but it didn't work for Quillvolley. Now it does work for Quillvolley, which means that getting a greater affix on both resource and chance for core skills to hit twice, and then having your masterwork crits land on the chance for core skills to hit twice is a pretty significant increase for us. However, there's a lot of misinformation about this currently. This is not just straight up a double damage increase for us, because the core skills hit twice affix cannot actually benefit from the overpower that you get from Banishlord's Talisman, so it still does some damage, and one of the main benefits of it is that it adds to our Jaguar Spirit Hull, which is bugged in 1,000 different ways, but this is based on how many hits you deal to an enemy, right? So if you're hitting more often, then you're going to be proccing the Jaguar Spirit Hull more often. Your damage numbers aren't going to be significantly higher as a result of this. Previously, without any changes, just logging into my build, previously the highest number that I got up to was 149 trillion, and then when I went and hit some target dummies with this, prior to the patch it was 149 trillion, put this on, no changes, I went up to about 170 or so, and usually you'll do more damage hitting actual mobs than you will fighting target dummies, so I would say, I'm just going to ballpark, this is probably about a 30 to 35% damage increase because of the fact that this does not actually overpower, and it's very difficult to quantify the increase of this because it is tied to like Jaguar Spirit Hull and it proccing this more often, but in terms of like how much of an increase you'll see in your actual numbers, probably about a 35% increase. What this means for you when trying to pick which Kepeleke to get, ideally, you like the greater affix on the chance for core skills to hit twice is probably the most important, as long as you are still able to reach 240 maximum vigor breakpoint without having greater affix on there, which should be easy. I'm at 281 currently. Then you want all your masterwork crits to land in the chance for core skills to hit twice if possible. Okay, next thing that I want to talk about is the new unique item that came out is Shrouded False Death. Whether or not this is a increase for you, how you can actually incorporate this to your build, and what are the differences. You'll see that in my build planner, I have now added it to the late game version. I added a Shroud variation, and then I also added it to my Glass Cannon version. Technically, Shroud of False Death is a damage increase versus using a normal legendary chest. The reason for this is twofold. It gives you +1 to all passives, and then it also gives you maximum HP. The all passives are quite a decent damage increase because, as you can see, if you add all of it up, you get all of these damage increases. I think this was about 60% or something like that, but some of these damage increases in your passives are actually applying to your skills, and it's difficult to math this out entirely, but like your core skills do increase damage. The damage benefit to skills does not actually include the Jaguar double dipping mechanic, so damage increase, like a 5% damage increase, is not just straight up 5% if it only applies to your skills, because that is not being double dipped with the Jaguar thing. So difficult to quantify how much damage you're actually getting as a result of all of those passives, but you gain, if you get it a greater affix, you gain an ungodly amount of HP, and you can see that my character's just sitting here with 19,000 HP. I don't even have my health pot popped, so I'll pop one of those, 23k HP, and you'll see if I swap from, this is only like on sheet, it's a 1,000 HP loss, but if I swap, it actually is almost 4,000 HP because of the way that HP scales multiplicatively with percentage bonuses on your gear, etc. So the flat HP is one of the biggest appeals to this item, and then getting a greater affix and landing masterwork crits on it is very good, and you gain even more all stats than you would dexterity on a normal chest. So mine's at 232 all stats, right, and it's non-GA, whereas my chest is GA and the dexterity is almost the same as the all stats. The all stats gives you the added benefit as well, and the resource gen being on it, it gives you the added benefit of being able to put resource cost reduction on your ring without having to worry about your resource at all. And resource cost reduction counts as a pretty much multiplicative damage increase when used with Kepeleke. Because you're able to get all of that all stats, you don't have to, in Paragon board, go out of your way to try to get a lot of strength and int and all this stuff to reach certain breakpoints. You can just slam all those extra points into straight up dexterity, which is just straight up a damage increase for you too. So it ends up being that Shroud of False Death is better than using a normal chest. The main thing that you lose is something like resolve stacks, and then you lose whatever aspect is on your normal chest. Quick thing I forgot to mention is that because you get +1 to all passives, you can take certain points out of things to then move it around. So you don't have to put a point into Patient Guard, you don't have to put a point into Vigorous, and you just gain a lot of passives. So you get a lot of survivability through all of this stuff. You gain points so that you can put into Armored Hide or into the Hunter so that they come off cooldown faster via having, what's it called, Prodigy's Tempo. And +1 into Intricacy is kind of insane when paired with Prodigy's Tempo, because anytime you pop like your ult or something, if the cast before it is any of these spells, you can instantly recast it. So for the purposes of Scourge, or for even Vortex, that's pretty cool. The main sources of additional damage that you gain out of the +1 to passes are things like Balance Exertion for damage, Potent is quite strong, Furnace is good, Brilliance is good, and all the passives down here are really, really strong. There's a lot of them, but you can look through yourself, but these ones are probably the best ones. How much of a damage increase you get? Difficult for me to say. I said I was doing about 170 trillion without the Shroud of False Death, and then when I put it on and optimize around it a little bit, I was doing on average about 220 to 240. I got a clip of me doing 230. I'll just put that there. And again, if you're actually fighting real mobs, you'll probably do more damage. So prior to the patch, my highest was 149, and now I can do on target dummies. Testing it for 1 minute, I can do 230. So realistically, I could probably do 270, 280 if I played for an hour or two. So I'd say we got about a double damage increase with this patch. But the question is, how can you actually fit Shroud of False Death into your build, and should you? The reason that I ask, should you even do it, is because the best way to fit it in, like what you lose is a maximum resolve temper or a resilient temper. And one of the best ways to take advantage of it is with resilient tempers, because the flat HP then gets scaled off of having the multiplicative increase via resilient. I don't even have a helmet with resilient on it right now. Mine is maximum resolve stacks. But ideally, if you were to play with Shroud of False Death, you'd want to use a normal legendary helmet with resilient stacks, and then normal legendary pants with resilient stacks as well. But to do that, you have to drop your Harmony of Ebawaka. Should you do this is up to personal preference. The problem with dropping Harmony of Ebawaka, in my opinion, is that you lose 30% movement speed. The reason you drop the helmet rather than the pants or something is because the only reason I recommend Ebawaka to people is because of the move speed is very nice, and the all stats makes reaching a lot of Paragon node breakpoints very easy. But the chest will just give you all those all stats and resource gen on top of that. So it makes reaching those breakpoints really easy that you don't have to worry about anymore. But if you play with Ebawaka, you're going to be a lot faster. As you can see, my character is like an absolute slow turd, and this is with the stealth up, which is not active all the time, because if you attack, the stealth will go away. And oh my god, my character is like an absolute turd. I would hate to speed farm or anything like this. So for most people, I would still recommend Ebawaka. Shroud of False Death is just going to be more damage for you. Technically, you could use both of these together. You just lose a little bit of value out of the Shroud of False Death because you're missing a resilient temper and you're missing the aspect of apprehension. So if this is a damage increase or not, I don't know. It's probably about the same as using Ebawaka by itself with a normal chest versus using both the uniques together. The benefit of the Shroud of False Death is that it is easy to get relative to getting a double GA and then super Masterworks chest. So for most people, I'd say get the Shroud of False Death, and then you could pair it with Ebawaka. Another thing is that if you use Ebawaka and not a normal legendary chest, then you lose out on access to armor and resistance to all elements. So then reaching res cap or armor cap could also be a little bit more difficult. You can kind of play around with these, or you can just straight up follow the build links that I'll have linked below. For most people, I would recommend staying with Ebawaka because it's easy to set up and the movement speed is nice. Or you could just put on the Shroud of False Death, give up some dexterity on your boots or something, get movement speed there, get resistance there, something along those lines. Everything's interchangeable, as you can see. That's pretty much it for the video. Double damage increase today. One thing I keep getting asked about quite a lot is the Mystic Circle stuff that's going on, and whether or not my build is outdated, if you should use Mystic Circle, blah, blah, blah. Quickly go on a tangent about this. Mystic Circle's garbage. Just don't use it. Unless you're planning on doing pit 150s, it's completely irrelevant to you and a waste of your time. The circles are super janky. It only gives you a damage increase if you're standing in them. It's only better than a normal, like, it's only better than using Aspect of Moonrise if you are able to reach the 12 frame attack speed breakpoint, which means you need Duelist 5, you need like crazy gear, GA attack speed on your gear, you need to reroll the tempers on your gloves, you need a almost maxed out aspect of Plains Power, then you have to use the other aspect, and the damage increases only while you're standing in the super janky circle. Oh my god. I promise you guys, if I can hit for 200 trillion without Mystic Circle on, I promise you don't need it. I promise you're not doing pit 150s. Like, you do not need this crap at all. It will literally make your build worse. Please, for the love of God, don't make your build worse for no reason. It's almost why I don't recommend Shroud entirely, because like, if you're just trying to speed farm, if you're just doing pit 100s, like, yeah, it's a damage increase, but do you want to lose 30% attack speed? I don't know. You could use both of them together and it would be more consistent damage. That's probably what I'd ultimately recommend for, like, if you want to do a T100 setup that's just chill, easy to get, just grab an Ebawaka, grab a Shroud of False Death real quick, try to masterwork the HP, and then just get one pair of pants. If you get Resilient on it, cool. If not, try to get HP, no big deal, and you'll still do like 70%, 80% of the damage total that you could do. Do you need the 20% extra when you're hitting for trillions? Not really, man. All right, that's it for the video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Feel free to just look at the build link, and I will have a Crushing Hand speed farm video posted pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.